It's a time for more packages from China. Let's go. Cartridge now is just awesome. What I did notice that there was different version out there that was created by a Russian coder who basically re-engineers all the games for the 16-bit systems. But it seems to be there are different versions out there. This version from AliExpress is slightly different than the version from the Russian coder that I have seen, or maybe this is the same version but more like a revision. There's not a lot of information that comes around with the Plants vs Zombie homebrew game. But nevertheless, if you're looking at the label and the cartridge, everything looks pretty decent. The label is a high quality print and the cartridge is the, let's say, deluxe version when it comes to the shell, because we're having some cheap versions out there and you don't want to have those. But nevertheless, I think it's pretty cool that you can play the homebrew game on your original Sega Mega Drive or your Genesis. So far I know it doesn't matter, these things are region free, so you can use them on both systems. Alright, so let's talk about the game itself. It looks very promising. I really like that it has more like this original 16-bit music of Plants vs Zombies. You can move the cursor like this with the D-pad, it works very well, very responsive. Okay, so let's press start. Now let's go into the menu itself. And they also use this menu, it looks very well. Here we have the password option, so that's pretty cool. So you basically can go to the part where you have last been, so that's pretty cool, yep. Okay, so here we're having the adventure mode. And we're having here the quick mode. There is no other option so far I know, so let's take a close look at the adventure mode. Alright, so in the beginning of the stage you can see the key, so you need to write it down or remember it. So there are some minor differences with the original game and this one. With this game you can choose basically every item so far I can see. With the original game you play through the adventure mode, progressing in the game, and then you can unlock new items. But here you can basically use them also. You need to choose wisely because some of the items are only for on water. So we're having all the plants, the shooting plants, the super triple shooting plants, they're all here. So it's quite interesting. You need to choose your weaponry where you start the fight with the zombies. So the first thing I did notice with this game is that there are some differences. So if you're looking at the lawnmowers in the beginning of the game, they are not here. So this means that there have no failsafe, or there's something we need to find out later on. So another thing is that when I was playing in this game, I did notice it works a little bit differently than the Flash game that I've played on my iPad or the game on my PlayStation system. So as you can see, the suns are still here. So far I know there are no suns dropping. You're only going to get them from the sunflowers. And as you can see, we have quite some difficult times already trying to get the suns for having the next turret up and running. So this game is completely different compared with the original game. And I think it can be very challenging. So I was playing the game for some time and I can really enjoy it, or I started the game wrong and I just suck at this game. But it's going to get really hard in the first stage. I don't know what's going on, but I get already some troubles having enough suns to buy all my turrets, because you can see every time a zombie comes on a different lane. But nevertheless, I think I need to change my strategy, or this game is just freaking hard. But okay, so let's try what happens if the zombie reaches the house. There is no lawnmowers that I noticed in the original game, and as you can see, it's game over already. So this game is pretty hard. But okay, so let's take a close look at the second option that's called Quick Play. Very curious what we're going to get. Aha! So this is really funny. So what you need to do is just smack all the zombies that came out of the graves. And this is just a completely new way how you can play this game. So this is just, so far I understand, an endless loop of zombies coming to you and you need to whack them with the hammer. Survive long as possible by whacking them and you will get a high score. So you can challenge your friends and see who is the best in smacking some zombies on the head with a freaking hammer. Kinda basic, but fun. I'm a really big fan of these, let's say, homebrew hack games. Better said, they are sometimes just completely new games that we're going to find. And that is something that makes me even interesting. I wish we had these in the 90s. Okay, but what I also like about is that you can play it actually on your original hardware. Of course, you can get yourself the file, grab an emulator and just slap it in and just play the game. I think it's just more like this extra retro feeling if you can play your original Sega Mega Drive console with your controller, and then you can use this game. So it gives more like an authentic feeling. If you look at the quality of the cartridge, this is the cheapest you can get, and the reason why I say cheapest, as you can see, we're having this 16-bit logo on the back, and they're just made from flimsy plastic. This is one of my favorite Sonic games that you can buy. I'm just going to say it straight out, simply because there are quite some different variation in this game. Sadly, you have no save function because the chip, or there is no PCB inside that has the support for save file. So that's a little bit of a disappointing. I hope in the future they will, let's say, make an expensive version where you can actually save. As you can see, already says something about the emulator, but I know for sure that the Chinese can figure out how you can make a PCB in combination with a little battery, so you can have the option to save. So this is a very strange menu, because basically when you're powering it on, you can just choose your stage, the way how you want to play the game, because we can choose different characters. It's quite interesting how you can do this. The game types, this is also very interesting. So we can choose if we want to play Sonic 1, Sonic 2, we want to combine Sonic 1 and 2, or just want to have the Emerald run. Pretty cool. And also the co-op mode, here we can choose that we have the original co-op mode or the chaotic from Knuckles and chaotic from the 32X. But let's talk about the co-op mode. So with co-op mode is basically the old school way that you can play with a character and the other ones are going to run behind you. Sometimes they will get lost, but it gives you a little bit more freedom with the character itself, so you can play like the old days, and I think that is pretty cool. And when you're playing, you can switch between the characters and you can choose which way you want to play. But we also have the 30X chaotic mode like this, so this means there are all the characters have been attached to each other. It's a little bit more difficult to play the game. Your characters will not get lost, and the convenient thing about it is that you can swap very easily when playing the game, because you already did notice that when you're having the freedom of having a character on the playfield, it's just a little bit of a guess where I'm going to be, because sometimes Sonic, Knuckles or Tails is getting lost when playing the game. So I think it's pretty cool that you can choose which co-op mode you want to play. But I think if you like this game, you need to be grateful, because thanks to the collaboration back in the day with Flaming Wind and Colin C10, they have created this awesome game. Because they basically created two different hack games, combined those two games to make this Sonic the Hedgehog Classic Heroes with all the features. It's, by the way, based on Sonic 2, so that's the reason why we're having all these special features and all the great things that you can see over here. But with the collaboration of Flame Wing and Colin C10, they have created this special enhanced Sonic 2 engine. So what you see is not the stock engine you're going to get with the original game. The game has been enhanced in many ways, so we're having some features for Sonic 3 and Knuckles. What I did notice with this game when playing, we had the awesome Fireball power-up shield that we didn't have in the original Sonic 2 game, including all the special features. For example, if you want to be in mid-air, you can burst and you can just boost yourself in the air with a flame ball, and that is something you only could do in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, of course, and of course Sonic 3, the normal game. Metal Sonic character was appearing in Sonic 2, one of the final bosses, and in Sonic 3 and Knuckles was also an enemy. But it's pretty damn awesome that you can finally play as the character. But this is not a basic hack which you can find many times in the past, but this is a completely new game. So this game is specially made by a team to make this a unique experience and play like Metal Sonic. There are two versions out there and this is one of the two. And the reason why I'm saying two versions, the other one was more like a revision or a new version with many new improvements. But I just want to take a close look at the first edition. Metal Sonic Hyperdrive is a very heavy modified Sonic the Hedgehog 1 game. It has been created by the Lone Devil. And what I think is pretty damn awesome, that with this game we're having brand new zones. It's all a little bit based on the Sonic CD style gameplay, the music and even the playable character. With the option we having in game mode and also the option to have a difficulty setting. What is brand new and I've never seen before in a Sonic game. But you already can see that this game comes with a character that has special moves. So for example, we're having the super peel out that already tune you when pressing up A, B or C, and when pressing down A, B or C with the maximum hyperdrive attack. And even if you're collecting all 6 emeralds and having 50 rings like with the original game, you're pressing jump and combination of 1 A, B or C, we are going to transform into Super Metal Sonic. What you can see with this game is that it has some new features and also new gameplay, and you can see even if this is a modified or a hack game, it doesn't even matter how you want to call this. For me this is just a brand new game that I needed to have back in the 90s. How cool would it be if Sega officially released a game with Metal Sonic in it? But if you want to have a completely new and more challenging, you also can choose the Master Quest game. So this homebrew game even supports 2 kinds of playing modes. How cool is that? With the boss fights we're also having a completely new challenge. It looks a little bit like the original Sonic 1 game if you're looking at the 2 platforms, and of course the enemies floating in the air with the big gigantic wrecking ball. But the idea is maybe the same, but it gives you a completely new challenge. And even when you're using the Master Quest, you're going to get a very big challenge. At the end, if you know the pattern, it's very fun to play, but still, it's something new. Called Code Grey. So Code Grey is a completely new game that they created for the Sega Genesis or Mega Drive here in Europe. I'm very curious what we're going to get, but first we're going to talk about the quality of the cartridge. So there are basically 2 cartridge versions out there, maybe some more, but I have only found 2 of them, and this is the cheap version. So the cheap version, they sell them for around $15 and the expensive for $10. Here you can see that the label, the glue for the label is not perfect and it's already getting a little bit loose, and this is what you're going to get with the cheap versions. First thing that I already noticed, and I think you do, is when you're looking at the Sonic the Code Grey, it's just based on the engine of Sonic the Hedgehog 1. And even the beginning stage looks very similar, but when you're going to start walking, you can see it's completely different of the layout. So it's not like a quick homebrew game that they just change some little things out. No, this is just a homebrew game that is completely new. So what you're going to get is a new game, and I think it looks pretty cool. But Sonic Code Grey is more like a hack and what they did is bring some new stages like the light out zone. There are some challenging custom build levels with accessing when you're hitting the question mark monitor. So with this game, it gives you a lot of new options, a lot of new great things you can discover, and it is a new adventure based on the Sonic 1 game. But you can see that I have the spin dash, and we didn't have this originally with the Sonic and Hedgehog game. I think it's pretty cool that we're having the spin dash, so it's in my opinion a completely new game. I have no idea what kind of version they are using on this cartridge and if this is even the final version they have released, because sometimes when you're buying a cartridge like this, they're using an old file. Sadly, with this game I did notice when I reached a certain point of the stage I was falling down, like basically when you failed the game, it glitches out. So that is sadly, that's something just happens sometimes. So with the Code Gray, it's more like a collectible item. And with the next stage they just use the original name, but the game is completely different because this stage is not like the original Sonic the Hedgehog game. It's way more challenging, and as you can see, I even having a lot of problems getting the first jump. I was just messing around. If you can see if I can jump from the spin dash. Let's see what are the limitations of this hack game. But nevertheless, it's fun and it's a very big challenge, I can say that. And yep, it froze again. Personally, I grew up with Mortal Kombat and I really love the game and the franchise for what it is. And I played Mortal Kombat 1, 2 and 3 a lot on the Sega Mega Drive. But if people didn't know, Trilogy have never been released on the Mega Drive or the Super NES back in the day. I think it was the N64 and the PlayStation 1 had the release, and even those were different from each other. In this video we are going to talk about the Mortal Kombat Trilogy. That is a cartridge that you can pick up so you can play this game on your original Sega Mega Drive or Genesis. You need to take into consideration that this thing costs triple the money compared with other hacked games I have reviewed here on the channel. But there's a reason for it, and the reason is quite simple. So with Mortal Kombat Trilogy, what makes this thing so special and why should you even consider checking this out? So to begin with, if you're a big fan of Mortal Kombat, this is the ultimate Mortal Kombat Mega Drive game you can ever buy for your system. And the reason why is very simple, because you can play with all the characters from the 3 games. Mortal Kombat 1, Mortal Kombat 2 and Mortal Kombat 3, including the bosses. Alright, so let's take a close look at the menu of what is new over here. So options, and here you can see we can turn blood on and off with the level, sound in the zones, health of the players, the options for it, the new 5th column, and this is quite interesting. And here we have already an overview of all the characters, but we're going to take a close look at it later. And then we're having the joystick option. What I do like about this game, especially made for the 6-button Mega Drive controller, and we're having the code demonstration. Quite unique and strange at the same time that I put it in this game. When going into the game, you can see we're having the same menu like Mortal Kombat 3, but we can choose a stage. So let's talk about the character itself and what are we going to get. So this game, or better said this hack, has been made possible by Kabul MK. The game itself has been released on the 30th of March 2014. So when making this video, this game is around 6 years old. So Kabul MK made this Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. And yes, it's just the ultimate, because now we can play with nearly every single character from Mortal Kombat 1, 2 and 3. That also includes completely new backgrounds, specials, combos, finish move and missing audio samples. And in the 6th year they did quite some different upgrades. For example, they added some new arenas, they improved the computer AI, bug fixes, and they added more specials, combos and finishing moves, because even the final bosses do have a fatality move. In, for example, previous hack games I have reviewed, they didn't have this. So that is pretty cool, and this game is very extended compared with different games and homebrew of hack games I have seen in the past. Let's go crazy up the cheesy way with my favorite character from Mortal Kombat 1, Goro. Holy crap, we need to beat Shao Kahn twice in this tower. Oh, and this is the first one, the easiest one.
Round 1, fight! Well done.
But what I do like about the game, that it has a lot of different stages, but the soundtracks are not like the original game that I did notice, but it's also very cool that even the bosses have combo moves, so that's pretty damn wicked if you ask me. So in the world of, let's say, repros, homebrew, there is so much different stuff out there, and some of the games are just fun, like this Street Fighter and, like say, Street of Rage. I can really enjoy it. It makes no sense actually playing it, but you can also just play it through an Hyperdrive. It's all up to you. Let me know in the comments what do you think of these, let's say, custom games, the improved games, and it would be great to see you in the next video, so consider subscribing and hit that little bell.